My friends, I was trying to think of a clever way to say this, but honestly, I'm just really excited. We are getting, finally, Astartes 2. It's about 7:30 in the morning where I am, and the trailer for Astartes 2 just dropped about 30 minutes ago. The first Astartes animated project is one of the most iconic pieces of visual Warhammer media that exists. For so many people in the Warhammer community, that was the thing that really got them into this world. If you haven't already seen the trailer, please go watch it now. It's about a minute and a half, and then come back here. We're going to break down the trailer and look at some screenshots of it, and then do some speculating. It is once again a very exciting time to be a Warhammer fan, so let's get into it.
The Emperor's light is my torch! Death to the enemy! We shall be the end of you! Feel the might of the righteous! For the Emperor!
Alright y'all, without further ado, let's hop right into the trailer. It opens up with a quote, "Many brotherhoods united in purpose, we are the shield that slays." This is undoubtedly a Deathwatch mantra. There is really the one organization where many brotherhoods are united in a single purpose. And the shield that slays is a general aphorism about the Deathwatch. One thing about the trailer before we delve deeper is that it's really just a bunch of flashes of different things happening, and they don't really have a narrative connection quite yet. The very first scene that we see is a Space Marine standing over a hive city. And this is kind of unique because normally we see hive cities from the outside, these giant, towering, mountainous cities, and we rarely get to see what it looks like on the inside. And it looks how you would expect, like a Gothic Coruscant. We switch from a Space Marine kind of lording over this large hive city to its underpits. We enter a massive circular chamber filled with people, and at the very center of it are Chaos Space Marines. They seem to be riling up the crowd and extolling some type of chaotic virtue. Then you immediately get the callback you were waiting for. The Retributors, the Space Marine chapter that was in the first Astartes project, are back in this one. I would recognize that hand grasping a skull emblem anywhere. But the next scene is where that many brotherhoods quote starts to catalyze. We see a small squad of size of the Emperor fighting for their lives against a bunch of Tyranids. And this is a symbolic fight because the size of the Emperor definitely have a grudge against the Tyranids. This chapter was rendered nearly extinct by the Tyranids, and their homeworld was destroyed by High Fleet Kraken. But the Tyranids are not the only Xenos in this trailer, as the next scene we get to see some Orc commandos in camouflage. And unfortunately, it's just tiger stripe camouflage rather than them being purple. But I think it's an interesting choice nonetheless. You're then smacked in the face with an incredibly ornate Blood Angel's pauldron. And we not only get slapped in the face with the opulence of Baal, but also get to see some of their jump pack intercessors in action. A notable thing about the first Astartes project is that there was not a lot of variation in the type of Space Marine that you saw. The lofty, almost heavenly Blood Angels are then immediately contrasted against the Sons of Medusa. They appear their roughshod green tanks blowing away Tyranids from a highway. Now this next scene I'm somewhat confused about. My first thought was that this Space Marine was the one from the first Astartes project, the one who survived whatever sorcerers they were fighting and getting sucked into that giant void sphere. But I'm noticing a couple of things here. He doesn't have the traditional emblem of the Retributors on his chest plate, and this person doesn't have a discernible augmetic on either arm, which leads me to believe that he's just another Space Marine. You can't really see the emblem on his pauldron, but there is a dreadnought in the back that does have that Retributor symbol on it. Now up until this point in the trailer, I had forgotten that there were Chaos Space Marines in it. But you are quickly reminded when one slams one of the Emperor's angels brutally into the ground. He stands over him looking all imposing and evil, but you can't really tell what legion or faction that this Chaos Space Marine belongs to. There's not any discernible rot or mutation that would say that he's a Plague Marine. He's definitely not a sorcerer of Tzeentch or one of Fulgrim's degenerates, but he is plastered in a bunch of 8-pointed stars made out of the roughest metal they could find. So I'm thinking Black Legion or Independent. We see the Retributors again, this time in the narrow confines of some type of city. One of them appears to be holding some type of human by his head, which would not lead me to believe that they have a friendly relationship at all. And this is kind of further evidenced by the graffiti we see in the back. At a quick glance, because you can't see the third word, you might think it says the Emperor protects. But looking a little bit closer, it clearly says that the Emperor forgets. And upon even further inspection, you see that there are some symbols on the wall as well as on the paper plastered on the wall. It kind of looks like an eye and a circle, but what I really think it is maybe a modified version of the Tau Empire symbol. Maybe this is a human world that has fallen prey to the propaganda of the ethereals. Or I could be totally off base and that be a symbol that I just haven't seen before. Let me know what you think it is in the comments below. We get a brief scene of just the size of the Emperor flexing their drip on us. I am a huge fan of Space Marines with capes. I wish every single chapter had them. And I really like that they chose this kind of orange color for the size rather than the more yellow that they're known for. I think it stands out against the black, and frankly, we don't have enough orange Space Marines. And then there's this guy. They show a scene of this particular Space Marine digging into a Tyranid with a chainsword. He has a white skull motif badly painted on a pauldron and this same white skull on his faceplate. I didn't immediately recognize it, and I think they may be the Mortifactors, but correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. The trailer comes to an end by showing us a close-up of a Terminator with the Death Watch symbol on his head. The Terminator fades away and we see the end card. It says, "Suffer not the alien to live, 2026. I don't think I've been this hyped for a Warhammer animation to come out in a long time. Not only does it still have the same feel as the first Astartes project, and that's because they have brought back Syama Peterson to work on it, but it is just so cool to see all these different chapters who don't get a lot of shine featured here. Granted, would I have loved to see my salamanders in this trailer? Yes. But it was an absolute refresher to see people like the Sons of Medusa front and center. I do of course have some questions. Is this going to be a singular episode or a series of episodes? There seems like there's going to be a lot going on with all the different chapters. We haven't really even seen the Death Watch aspect of this yet, and there's both Chaos Space Marines and Xenos in this. Maybe it's a multi-part origin story about a Death Watch squad and where they came from. Maybe it's a two-part storyline, one about the Death Watch and one about the Retributors who didn't really interact with Xenos too much in that trailer. A big question personally that I have is what happened to our boy from the first Astartes project? Is he still trapped in that hellscape that he was teleported to? Or maybe they've moved on from that storyline completely. I know my speculation that there is a Tau-influenced human world might be a little shoddy, but I really do hope that that is part of the story. I've read maybe 2-3 books that even mention Guavesa at all, the human auxiliaries of the Tau, but I would like to know more. And I definitely want to know how Space Marines interact or even communicate with these people. If I know Space Marines, it's gonna be violent. But I don't want to ramble too long, this was just a 1.5-minute trailer. But I would like to talk to you all and hear your speculations in the comments, so make sure to put those below. Thank you guys always for watching, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.